quickly. Don't search for the answer, just answer from memory. Did the Monopoly Man wear a monocle?
Keep that image locked in your head. Now ask yourself next, did Pikachu have a black tip on his tail?
And finally, was the famous children's book series called The Berenstain Bears or The Berenstein Bears?
If you answered confidently to any of those, there is a very real chance you remember something that, according to today's historical records, never actually existed. Welcome to The Explainer, Accessing Archive, file number 008, The Mandela Effect.
Section 1, The Origin, Nelson Mandela.
To really understand this phenomenon, we have to look back to 2009. That's when a paranormal researcher named Fiona Broom noticed a deeply unsettling pattern. Now, historical records clearly show that South African leader Nelson Mandela was imprisoned during the 1980s. He was released in 1990, became president in 1994, and ultimately passed away in 2013. This is our undisputed reality.
Yet when Broom began actually talking to people, thousands of them vehemently insisted they remembered a completely different timeline. They vividly recalled television broadcasts, newspaper headlines, and even specific conversations about him dying in prison decades earlier, right in the middle of the 1980s.
Broom ended up naming this strange anomaly the Mandela Effect. She defined it as a phenomenon where a massive group of completely unrelated people recall the exact same incorrect detail or event. Because normally, people misremember things in their own unique ways. But here, they collectively share the exact same false memory.
Section 2, the shared memory phenomenon. As people started comparing notes online, it became terrifyingly clear that this went far beyond just one historical figure. Think back to our first question. Countless people vividly remember the Monopoly Man wearing a monocle, but if you look at the actual records, throughout the board game's entire history, he never had one, not once.
The exact same distortion plagues pop culture. Millions of fans picture Pikachu with a black-tipped tail, but the official source material reveals a solid yellow tail. The black tip simply doesn't exist.
And perhaps most unsettling of all is the children's book so many of us grew up reading. Despite a massive chunk of the population remembering it spelled Berenstein with an E, every single physical book from our childhood says Berenstain with an A.
The crucial takeaway here is that this isn't just a one-off mistake. These exact shared memories, alongside famous movie quotes seemingly changing overnight, have really become the central evidence of this whole mystery. It is a collective misplacement of reality.
Section 3, Theories of a Broken Reality. So how do we actually explain this anomaly? Are our brains just deeply flawed? Or is there a literal crack in reality itself? Well, the leading psychological theory points to memory flexibility. Over time, our brains naturally detect gaps in our memories. To make sense of things, the mind simply fills the gap by mixing in logical details, like assuming a rich old capitalist character should probably have a monocle. Eventually, a completely fabricated memory is created that feels undeniably 100% real. But a far more mysterious theory suggests that the Mandela effect is actually evidence of overlapping realities. According to this idea, reality is not as fixed as we assume it is. Small historical details have changed, and history has subtly shifted, leaving people with fragmented memories from a completely different timeline.
This phenomenon fascinates and disturbs us because it challenges the fundamental trust we place in our own minds every single day. If your memory can be so vivid, so unquestionable, and still be completely wrong, what else might you remember differently?
Maybe it's simply a quirk of the human mind, or maybe the reason so many people remember the exact same impossible details just hasn't been discovered yet. So the next time you feel absolutely certain about a memory, ask yourself, do you truly remember it, or do you remember a different version of reality? File number 008 remains open, and until the next investigation, stay curious.